All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt. Give me 1 second. I totally forgot to pull my slides up. I'm gonna do that 1 second. I just realized that now as we went on air that I forgot to do that. So stand by. I will get my slides up for you guys. In the meantime, everybody can start getting in chat and everything. We do got a pretty packed show for you today. I got a lot to talk about with the NFL, and of course, the NBA is headed into its AllStar Weekend. I'm sorry. Let me just pull my slides up here, and I will share my screen. So, I am going to share my screen. And, okay. Give me 1 second. All right, so you guys should be able to see that. And, all right, we are good to go with our slides. All right, so welcome everybody again to Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt. I'm your host, of course, Ryan Stoudt, bringing you the latest in the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA. Today, we're just going to cover two of those leagues. We're going to cover the NFL and the NBA because the MLB is in spring training. Not a lot going on right now. Once the regular season starts, I will go over a bunch of that stuff, and I am just stoked for the MLB season to start. And it's going to be so much fun bringing you NFL offseason, NBA season, and MLB regular season. Going to be a lot of fun. So before I do jump into my topics for today, I do want to urge you guys to go check out Crunch Time Sports Show. That's a show that I do with hosted by Landon Hammonds, and he's got me and Michael Conceição on there. We have a lot of fun doing that on YouTube at Crunch Time Sports Show. You're going to go and subscribe and like those videos and that page on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. We talk about all things sports on that show. We're getting ready to do a bunch of cool stuff, and we're young. Landon and I are two young, aspiring sports analysts. So please go and check out his channel and support that at Crunch Time. I'm sorry, not Crunch Time Sports Show. Fuel to the Fire Sports Talk. Crunch Time Sports Show is hosted by John Mark Stivers. You're going to want to go and check that out as well. But Fuel to the Fire is hosted by Landon Hammonds, and you are going to want to check that out as well. So, our first topic for today, obviously, big news out of the NFL. J.J. Watt has been sent to the Arizona Cardinals. I believe it was for a 2-year deal. I do not know the exact amount of years or the amount of money. So, but I do know, obviously, he is now in Arizona, and that makes it very, very scary for the NFC West because I want to just some notable names on this defense right now. We have Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson, Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, obviously. It is just there's so many guys on on the defensive end of the ball in Arizona. Not to mention on the offensive side, you got you got Kyler Murray with a weapon like DeAndre Hopkins on that team, and Larry Fitzgerald, who's getting old but he's still contributing. Kenyon Drake in the backfield, and the Arizona Cardinals are a team that are built to win right now in the NFL, and I think they could very well win that NFC West because let's look at the other teams in the NFC West, right? We have the Rams, who just picked up Matt Stafford. They have a brand new quarterback. And obviously the Lions won that trade. I 100% will say every day of the week, 24/7, 365, the Lions won that trade in getting Jared Goff and those picks. Because I am one of those people. A lot of people think that Matt Stafford's an underrated quarterback, and that's fine. He put up great numbers some seasons in Detroit. There's no denying that. But you cannot tell me the guy is underrated, and he's only obviously, you got people say that he's underrated. I would argue that he is overrated in this league because let's look at it, right? He had a few good seasons, and he made one Pro Bowl. Matt Stafford did, and that was the year that he subbed for Peyton Manning, who went to the Super Bowl with the Broncos. So Matt Stafford hasn't even ever been selected to a Super Bowl, let alone make the playoffs. He might have made the playoffs 1 year. So I think he is highly overrated. I think people give him way too much credit. He hasn't done anything in Detroit. We're about to find out who Matt Stafford really is in LA. And you know what? I'm hoping that Matt Stafford proves me wrong. I'd love to see a good year out of Matt Stafford, and maybe he will prove me wrong. But for the time being, I think he's an overrated quarterback, and I think we're about to find out who he really is with LA because he has a good team around him. So I don't see the LA Rams beating out the Arizona Cardinals. The next team in line would be the Seattle Seahawks, and they're having trouble with their quarterback right now, Russell Wilson, indicating that he maybe wants a trade because of the offensive line. They got out in the wild card round last year. I think they're still a good team if they keep everybody there, but they're an aging team. So I can see the Cardinals beating them this year. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers. And unless something changes and they get a quarterback, like maybe a Dak Prescott, which I'll talk about in a second, the Cardinals are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers unless they make a big move this offseason. So I can see the Arizona Cardinals having an 11-5, 12-4 season and winning the NFC West. It's the best division in football. There's no denying that the NFC West is the best division in football. Because you have 4 teams all fighting for a playoff spot next year, in my opinion. And I think the Cardinals are going to come out on top. If I had to guess on a team that's going to come out in second place, it's either going to be the Seahawks or the Niners. Because I don't think the Rams are going to be any good with Matt Stafford. I really don't. Matt Stafford has not shown me enough for me to say, whoa, that's a big move. And Matt Stafford going to the Rams. Now, whoa, that's a huge move. No, to me, it's not. I saw that and I said, wow, good for the Lions if they picked up Jared Goff, who I believe is the better quarterback and who I believe will have a better career. And that's what I got for you guys with J.J. Watt going to the Cardinals. That's going to be a scary defense in Arizona. And he reunited with DeAndre Hopkins, so that's pretty cool. And Michael on Fuel to the Fire, this past week, actually, we were talking about, and Michael made a really, really good point. He said that Jadeveon Clowney could end up in Arizona too. That's another great defensive weapon for Arizona. And that would be 3 players who used to play for the Texans now playing in Arizona, in J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jadeveon Clowney. That is a powerhouse defense in my opinion. And I think they're going to go a long way. Moving on to our next topic. So, the drama in Dallas continues. Before this story broke out, I said that the Cowboys should consider a sign and trade for Dak Prescott. A sign and trade with Dak Prescott. Yeah, trade him somewhere, sign him and trade him. That would be their best viable option with the money problems that they're having. Now, we hear that Dak Prescott wants to be paid right behind that guy, Patrick Mahomes, who, in my opinion, is the best player in the league. He will be the best player in the league. By the time his career is over, he'll be the best quarterback we've ever seen, in my opinion. Now, Patrick Mahomes last year received a 10-year, $503 million extension. And Dak Prescott is good, maybe even great, but he is not as good, not as great as Patrick Mahomes. And Dak Prescott wants to be paid right behind Patrick Mahomes, which I think is absolutely absurd. If Dak Prescott thinks he's going to get that amount of money, I don't know what's going through his head. So now, in the front office of Dallas with Jerry Jones, the sign and trade thing is off the table. You do not want to sign him upwards of $400 million. He's not worth it. Now, you are possibly looking at drafting a quarterback in the draft. Because Dak, you got to let Dak Prescott go now. You cannot, you're already in such financial trouble that it would make no sense to pay Dak Prescott the money and trade him. A sign and trade would make no sense at this point. What you need to do is you need to let him go in free agency. As far as I'm concerned, the era of Dak Prescott in Dallas is over, unless they franchise tag him, which I don't think they're going to do. Where can I see Dak ending up? I can see Dak ending up in a place like San Francisco, and I said this on Fuel to the Fire many weeks back. If Dak Prescott ends up in San Francisco, there's your Super Bowl team. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with the Chiefs because I think the Chiefs are going to run roughshod over the league for the next couple of years. They're going to be a dynasty. But if Dak goes to San Francisco, that's a Super Bowl caliber team. That is a heavy Super Bowl caliber team. And that's a team that, if there's any team in the league that could beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I mean, I know we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do that this past year. If there's any team that can beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, it would be the San Francisco 49ers with Dak at quarterback, because I think Dak is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't think they're going to get Deshaun Watson, the San Francisco 49ers. And then, frankly, I don't know where Deshaun Watson's going to go. He could end up anywhere at this point. I don't think he's going to get traded till after the beginning of the season, though. And that's what I have for you on that topic. Moving on, we have Alex Smith, who has been released from the Washington football team this past week after getting drafted to the 49ers. He played there for a couple of years. Then he went to the Chiefs, had a good run with the Chiefs, had a very good run with the Chiefs, and they were contenders for a while. And then he went to the Washington football team, had that catastrophic leg injury that we'll all remember, and he almost lost his life as a result of the leg injury. Comes back, wins Comeback Player of the Year, and now he's released. So I really, really hate to say this about Alex Smith, because I think his comeback was extraordinary and something that everybody will remember for a long time to come. I think if he comes back, he will end up as a backup quarterback for a team that, well, obviously that needs a backup quarterback. Or if he gets a starting job, it will be somewhere that is in desperate need of a quarterback. And if those two options aren't options, then he will retire, in my opinion. I think retirement is in the back of his head right now. I think he could very well retire and call it a career, because we don't know how bad obviously the leg injury was very bad, but that is going to play a big factor, and I think that's going to cut his career short, unfortunately. But I can see him ending up as a backup quarterback for a team. Like any team in the league would be lucky to have Alex Smith as a backup quarterback. If we're talking starting quarterback job, it's going to be a team that's in desperate need of a quarterback, like maybe the Broncos or a team like that. I think wherever he goes is not going to be a playoff team, though, if he starts. If he's a backup, that could be a playoff team. But unfortunately, I think his run in the NFL has ended as a starting quarterback, and I wholeheartedly believe that he is either going to be a backup or he is going to call it a career. And it's a shame. Whenever you see an injury like that, it is a shame, because he cut his career short with his injury. He could have had a couple more years left in him without that injury. And it's just a shame to see. And Alex Smith hopefully will end up somewhere, but if not, I can see retirement in his future. Our next topic, Big Ben Roethlisberger will be returning for another year in Pittsburgh. Do I like the move? No, I don't like the move. I don't like the fact that Ben Roethlisberger re-signed with the Steelers. I could see him re-signing with a number of different teams that could have got. Obviously, Ben wants to come back and try to win another championship. I could have seen him re-signing with many other teams that he would have had a better shot at winning a championship with. The Steelers don't have an offensive line. Pouncey just retired. Juju Smith-Schuster's a free agent. We don't know if he's going to re-sign with Pittsburgh. They don't have a running game. Ben Roethlisberger just went back to a team that is not good. I understand he's been their franchise guy. I realize that. And last year, he had a decent year. He threw 33 touchdowns. He had 10 interceptions. Okay? He had a decent year. The problem being, Ben Roethlisberger is not on a good team. They went 11-0, and Mike Tomlin said that they were a bad team. When they were 11-0, I said that they were a bad team. I knew within that wild card weekend that they were going to lose to that Cleveland Browns team, and they did. They got blown out by the Cleveland Browns. They didn't play anybody good in that 11. Well, I lied. They played the Ravens, and they played they played a couple good teams in that 11-0 run. My point being is that Ben Roethlisberger just re-signed with a team that is quite possibly going to lose one of their stars. Already lost Pouncey, one of their great offensive linemen. and doesn't have a running attack. And Big Ben wants to come back and says he does it because he wants to win a championship in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not the spot for Ben Roethlisberger to win another championship. I'm sorry. Yes, he's their franchise guy. And yes, he has never played for another team. But if there was ever a time to win and play for another team and try to win a championship, it was now. Ben Roethlisberger could have re-signed with anybody he wanted. And he re-signed in Pittsburgh, and he says he wants to win another championship. So it becomes Pittsburgh's job now to get a running back, to re-sign Juju, because Chase Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster, that's a good receiving core, to get an offensive line to give Ben some time in the pocket. And they are going to need to make big moves in the offseason if they want to give Ben a shot at winning the championship again, winning a Super Bowl again. Their defense is fine. Their defense is absolutely fine. I have no problem with their defense. They can leave the defense the way it is. Their offense is what needs work. You got to re-sign Juju. You got to get an offensive line. You have to get a running attack. That's a lot to ask for in one offseason to get Ben a Super Bowl. Can the Steelers do it? I don't know. We'd have to see their cap situation. I know they didn't have a lot of cap money because they were looking at a decrease in pay for Big Ben Roethlisberger. And they did decrease his money about $2 to $4 million on this deal. But I'm telling you, if his goal is to come back and win a championship in Pittsburgh, that's not the spot to do it. Pittsburgh is not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not even going to win that division, in my opinion, unless something catastrophic happens in the offseason and they build this super team. They're not even going to make it out of the AFC. They're not going to win the AFC North. That is the Browns. That is the Browns division right now. And they're not going to make it out of the AFC against that Chiefs team with the team they have right now. They need to get some more guys. John Mark asks, is Cam Hayward and TJ Watt the best O-line in the league? I think he means defensive line. That's tough to say because now you got a guy like J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones and Patrick Peterson and Budda Baker in Arizona, like I said before. You also, looking at a defensive line, man, that's tough. They might be the best defensive line in the league, T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward, if we're looking solely at defensive line. The Chiefs have a very good defensive line, too, with Frank Clark and Chris Jones. But the only problem I have with that, John Mark, is the fact that Cam Hayward is aging. Cam Hayward is in his late 30s, or he's in his mid to late 30s, I think. T.J. Watt's young, but I would say that the best defensive line in the league right now would probably be the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion. Best defense in the league, that Arizona's got a chance at being the best defense in the league this coming year, though. And the Saints have a pretty good defensive line as well. So, moving on from Big Ben, we move to AllStar Weekend in the NBA. I am so excited for this weekend. You see it there. All of AllStar Weekend in one night. We have the Skills Challenge, the All-Star Game, the three-point contest, and the Slam Dunk Contest tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Eastern on TNT. I will be watching every single minute of coverage. I love All-Star Weekend. I believe they're doing the three-point and skills challenge before the game, the All-Star Game, and then at halftime they're doing the Slam Dunk Contest. Now, we got a lot to talk about with this All-Star Game. I'm going to do my All-Star Game picks last. I'm going to do my dunk contest, three-point contest, and skills challenge picks first. Then I'm going to hand out my midseason awards. And then I will pick for my All-Star predictions for tomorrow night. So, let's start with the skills challenge. Skills challenge. And, give me 1 second. Let me just paper here. So, skills challenge. We have Robert Covington of the Portland Trail Blazers, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, Chris Paul of the Phoenix Suns, Julius Randle of the New York Knicks, Domantas Sabonis of the Indiana Pacers, and Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic participating in the Skills Challenge. Now, if you guys are new to All-Star Weekend, the Skills Challenge is basically they choose different players that are very good, like facilitators, in my opinion. So what they do is they go through this obstacle course, they dribble, they pass, they do a layup of some sort, they come on the other end, and they got to shoot a three. And it's like an obstacle course, basically. And if I had to pick somebody that's going to win the Skills Challenge tomorrow night, it's got to be Luka Doncic. I mean, Luka Doncic is a guy who can do it all. He can shoot, he can pass, he's good driving. He is a guy that is a good all-around player. And if there was anybody that was built for the Skills Challenge, it would be Luka Doncic, in my opinion. I could see Sabonis quite possibly winning it. Chris Paul, another favorite there. But I think Vucevic, Randall, and Covington, I don't think they really have a shot. But I think the three favorites would have to be Sabonis, Chris Paul, and Luka Doncic, in my opinion. If I had, and out of those three, I would have to pick Luka Doncic who would win that game, or win the Skills Challenge. And it's going to be exciting to see. I'm excited to see all of these guys go at it. Next, we have the three-point contest. The three-point contest consists of Jaylen Brown from Boston, Steph Curry from Golden State, Mike Conley from the Utah Jazz, Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls, give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out what I wrote. And Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics for the three-point contest. So, out of those guys, I'm missing somebody. I do not know the note that I took. I am so sorry. I will figure out. There is one more. I know that. So if you know it in the chat, please put in the chat who the last contestant is in the three-point contest. I hit Jalen, Steph, Conley, LaVine, and JT. And out of those guys, out of everybody that's participating in the three-point contest, I don't think you can count out Steph. I think Steph has to be the favorite, and I think he's going to win. Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter in the history of the game. I think we can call it a close second. Yes, thank you, Donovan Mitchell. Thank you, John Mark. So Donovan Mitchell is the other one that's competing. Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter we've ever seen. A close second would be Larry Bird. Larry Bird would be the only one that you can make an argument for that is a better shooter than Steph, in my opinion. Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter we've ever seen in the NBA history, and he should win this. He should win this three-point contest because he's won it before. He's a veteran at the three-point contest, and I want to. He has some of the best three-point shooting numbers out of anybody ever, and I don't think there's really going to be any competition. I think Steph's going to own this competition tomorrow night. So, moving on to the dunk contest. And I don't know how Zion Williamson got snubbed from the dunk contest, but lo and behold, he did, because we have Anthony Simmons representing Portland, Cassius Stanley representing Indiana, and Obi Toppin representing the New York Knicks. And my pick for the dunk contest goes to Obi Toppin of the New York Knicks. He is a great slasher. He's a powerhouse inside. He is somebody that can pull out some flashy dunks, in my opinion. I'm excited to see the dunk contest. It's always one of my favorite events of All-Star Weekend. Ever since Dwight Howard did the Superman thing, that was so cool. You have Michael Jordan dunking from the free throw line. So many iconic moments. Vince Carter in 2000, the whole dunk contest for him was iconic. So many iconic moments in the dunk contest. But I'm taking Obi Toppin to win the dunk contest in representing the New York Knicks. Now, my midseason awards, and then we go to my all-star picks. My midseason awards. MVP, I know, the entire year I've said Luka. And this is the one time it changes. Midseason award for MVP for me goes to Joel Embiid, who is averaging 30 points a game. And he's on pace to be the first big man to average 30 points a game since 1984, 1985, when I think it was Dr. J that did that. I could be wrong about that, though. Julius Erving, Dr. J. So, Embiid's averaging 30 points a game He's the favorite for MVP right now, and as he should be. He's having one of the best seasons of his career. My Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Rudy Gobert, who is averaging 2.7 blocks per game this midseason. He's one of the best defenders in the league, the Stifle Tower, they call him. And he is just amazing in the paint. He is an amazing defender, and he deserves Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of the best defenders we've ever seen in the league. Most improved player, I'm going with Julius Randle, who is averaging 23, 11, and 5 for that New York Knicks squad that is in 5th place in the East. And they've just turned their season around, and Julius Randle has been the ringleader in New York. And, good for New York. It's about time that they turn their season around. And I'm glad that Julius Randle turned his season around, 23, 11, and 5. And he is sort of the leader of that New York Knicks squad. He should get most improved player. Sixth man, I don't think there's going to be any argument here that it will be Jordan Clarkson, who's averaging 17 points a game off the bench. We saw him score 40 off the bench one night in that long run for the Utah Jazz. And I don't think there's anybody that can compete with Jordan Clarkson for sixth man of the year. He's a great asset on that Utah Jazz team. And I'm just very, very excited to see how he plays in the second half of the season. Rookie of the Year, again, I don't think there's any debate here. It's going to be LaMelo Ball. He's averaging 15, 6, and 6. He's taking the league by storm. Stephen A. Smith the other day said that he is what we expected of Lonzo Ball, and he's absolutely right. LaMelo Ball is everything we expected Lonzo Ball to be. And LaMelo is just, taking the league by storm as a rookie. He's getting shout-outs from Michael Jordan and whatnot, who owns the Hornets. And he is proving that he will be a good player for years to come. And finally, Coach of the Year, it's got to go to Tom Thibodeau. It has to go to Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion. New York, they're 5th in the East. They're 19 and 18. Tom Thibodeau basically turned that organization around and is basically made the New York Knicks what they are today. The New York Knicks in the past couple of years have been one of the worst teams in the league. Statistically, one of the worst teams in the league. Nobody wanted to watch the New York Knicks. People were getting thrown out of Madison Square Garden. But finally, it seems like the New York Knicks are somewhat back on track, and they're making a playoff run this year. And it's all thanks to Coach Tom Thibodeau. He gets my Coach of the Year nod. Now, for our All-Star game, I'm going to go through our lineups first. For Team LeBron, we have LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Dame Dalla, Ben Simmons, Chris Paul, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Domantas Sabonis, and Rudy Gobert. For Team Durant, we have Kyrie Irving, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Mike Conley, who is subbed for Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Nikola Vucevic, and Donovan Mitchell for Team Durant. Now, I think that Team LeBron is going to win this game. I mean, let's look at the starting fives, right? LeBron James, Giannis, Steph, Luka, and Jokic versus Kyrie, Joel, Kawhi, Bradley Beal, and Jason Tatum. There's no question that the Team LeBron should win the All-Star game, and they have my pick to win the All-Star game. I don't know what Durant was doing in that draft, but he could have drafted a much better team than he did. And I think that Team LeBron is going to win this game. So those are my All-Star picks. I'm going to go to the chat because John Mark's been active in the chat. First, he says, should Emmanuel quickly be in the Rookie of the Year conversation? I think he should be in the conversation, sure. He's not going to win it. He shouldn't even be in the conversation to win it. There should be nobody in the conversation to win it other than LaMelo Ball, because LaMelo Ball is the best rookie out of that class right now. Emmanuel quickly is good, but he's not as good as Lonzo Ball. You can put him in the conversation. I think he's top 3 in Rookie of the Year right now. But I don't think there's any question that LaMelo Ball is going to win that award. And again, from John Mark, we have, did Mike Conley deserve the All-Star replacement? I think so. I think Mike Conley is having a decent year. And I think if Devin Booker couldn't be in the All-Star game and they were looking for somebody, I think Mike Conley would have been a great replacement. If you can give me somebody better that could have replaced Devin Booker, I can't find anybody. I mean, Mike Conley has deserved the All-Star nod for a number of years now. And yeah, there's nothing really more to say on that. And that is our show right here on Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the show. And I will see you on Wednesday. We'll be doing this every Wednesday to get your latest in the NFL, MLB, and NBA. Again, if you guys enjoyed this stream and want to see more just like it, go ahead and tune in to Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt every Wednesday right here on YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out Fuel to the Fire, hosted by Landon Hammonds with myself and Michael Concesio. We do that twice a week, just about. So you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe to that channel as well. And of course, Crunch Time Sports Show, hosted by John Mark Stivers, as well as the John Mark Stivers Show, his NBA show. You're going to subscribe to those as well. And those are my shout outs. Again, guys, if you enjoyed this show and you want to see more just like it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and tune in every Wednesday right here on Sports Talk with Ryan Stoudt.